it. No, I think it is. I think they got it. It looks to me like they got it. Um, on Etiwanda, slowly traveling southbound, stopped for a moment. And what we're going to see also, if that tire is flat, we're going to see some erratic moving in the front of that vehicle. It's just going to start to swerve a little bit. Um, and now we're in the center lane there. We're in somewhat of a residential area. That's not good. And maybe now that that's a pretty close call there. Now that the spike strip, if it did work, hopefully it doesn't make the suspect more desperate and he just start driving at a higher rate of speed and then have less control of the vehicle. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah. It looked like they hit it. Another one set up. Yeah. Oh, of course. They're going to try another one here in a moment. I can't believe they missed the last one. It looks like they got it. Maybe it's just going to take a while for that tire to completely run down. Maybe it's a run flat or something, although you would think it'd be flat by now. They're going to try another one right now, and these are small little streets here in Kittredge. They may be able to get in front of them, force them into an area, and get the spike strip out once again. So I don't know if this was the intersection. I think they talked about this intersection, but I don't see them getting set up in time. If they are hiding around the corner, they might be able to get them. Yeah, they just didn't get there in time. We heard the call go out, and fortunately, you push it all the way in. Is that tire flat? Yeah, yeah. It looks flat to me, Tony. It looks like they got it. So it's going to make it much more difficult for the suspect to continue. That'll be down on the rim pretty soon, and then it'll be hard for him to control the vehicle. They'll try and do another spike strip. That'll also, sort of slow the vehicle, if you will, as far as how fast the suspect will be able to drive. Won't be able to drive as fast. He won't be able to control the vehicle as well, that's for sure. And they may be able to do another spike strip. But you can tell they got them. They're talking about doing more spike strips in some of these intersections. It's right down to the rim almost. He's going to lose control of the vehicle pretty soon. It's going to be real hard to maneuver that truck once it's right down to the rim. Yep. Yeah, and what really worries you, what's our speed here, Marcel? Because if he's getting desperate because it's flat, we're 40 miles an hour, but into oncoming traffic, there's another spike strip they tried to put out. That's the same intersection we were at a moment ago. They got him. They got him. Oh, they got the rear this time. So that's a set of doubles. Two tires back there. The spike strip got wrapped up in there, but that's good. So you're going to have all the tires on the right side of this vehicle flat. And the suspect, they want to get that spike strip out of there. You saw him running because they don't want to cause flats for other vehicles. But the suspect keeps going around in circles, Tony. I mean, we've been in the West Valley the whole time, but that's the second time he came back to the same intersection. Now, not only is the right front flat, we should see the two tires on the right rear go flat here in a moment as well. Yeah. No, it'll slowly go right down to the rim, though. It just takes time. That tire's just going to come off. If you travel at a higher rate of speed, it'll come off quicker, obviously. You have more friction, and sometimes they even catch on fire. We are hearing now they're not certain if that spike strip actually deployed, if it flipped over and got that rear tire. All right, copy. Great. Oh, they got the driver's side rear, the left rear. Yeah. Copy. Copy. Oh, I want to put with the curb there. Yeah, we know we have a flat on the right front. They got the spike strip on the right front, and now we understand, according to LAPD, they believe it's the left rear that's going to go flat next. If the spike strip did deploy, and they're going to get the left rear to go flat. We don't see an indication of that yet, but it takes a moment or two. And if that becomes the case, it's going to be real difficult for the suspect to maintain control. But with one tire, tire down to the rim, the right front, and speeds at 50 miles an hour here on Lindley Avenue in Reseda, it's gotten pretty dangerous. Before he was traveling like 9 miles an hour, could see the patrol cars. Now he's going to lose control of this vehicle because of the flat in the right front. And if we loses the left rear, we can push in tight. If that goes flat like we think it's going to, it's going to be really hard to control this vehicle. It'll be really hard to maintain speed. And it does look like slowly it may be going flat, but unfortunately, Tony, we're seeing higher rates of speed, the kind of thing that really concerns us in pursuits like this because of the danger to the public. So you got a flat tire, maybe two, you've got this big truck pulling a concrete pumper trailer, and you've got speeds almost 60 miles an hour on Lindley Avenue in Reseda, and a suspect who's desperate, he's fidgeting, he's under the influence of something, according to the LAPD, and a more and more dangerous situation, coming to fruition here as we watch this. Yeah, you don't see it in the shot. The right front for sure is flat. It's right down to the rim. We did hear, though, that they thought on the last spike strip that they threw out that they got the left rear, but I don't really see that the left rear is going flat. So that may not be the case. So they just have the right front, from what we can tell at this point in time. Staying at about the same area here on Victory Boulevard in Tarzana. We've been mostly in Tarzana, Canoga Park. It all started up at Chatsworth about 7:20 this morning, and it hasn't been an extremely high-speed pursuit, but the suspect's been very erratic, fidgeting inside there. As we mentioned earlier, they say under the influence of something, and that the suspect just can't sit still. When he does come to stops, though, if there's a pedestrian out, he seems to try and engage them. He's like, hey, come here, come here. There's going to be another spike strip, we think, right here at this intersection. There you go. You see the patrol car, and you see what they're going to do is try and hide until the last moment. If they can get the suspect to stay in that right lane and continue towards that intersection, he's in the center lane right now, but the right lane would be better because you can't get too far around that. Although he does appear to be a little hesitant, as if, hey, this happened to me last time in a construction zone, and that's where you got me. So it's difficult to get the spike strip out when the suspect's driving this slow. They really don't want to run right in front of them, but they are going to try another attempt here. One worked. The right front tire is flat, and they're hoping to get another one so they can get this pursuit to come to an end. Is he putting his sweater back on? Yeah. Yep, coming up on another intersection. You see the officer trying to get out, probably about right now. There he goes. He's running out in front. They really doesn't want to get right in front of the guy. He wants to throw it out there. Nice job. And he hit the same. They'll get the back. Get the back. Oh, they got the back this time. It looks like that one deployed. It would have been nice if they got both of the front tires. They already had the right front, but it appears once again after about 7 attempts to have been successful. It looks like that one was successful to get the right rear tire. And, you know, slowly but surely, you mentioned, Irene, the gas mileage. It's hard to say, you know, it's not going to get much, and it's hard to say how much fuel is in it. I have to believe that LAPD's talked to the company. They know about how much, but the gas mileage and the time that this guy can keep going goes way down when you're driving on a rim and not a tire. So if they did get the right rear, hopefully we can get this thing to come to an end without incident. There was one accident during the pursuit. We don't think it was a bad one. There was a little damage to the front of the truck. We believe that could be stolen. We haven't been able to confirm that. It might have been stolen after a traffic accident at 7:20 this morning up in Chatsworth at DeSoto and Lassen. We heard that was a hit and run, and then we heard a stolen vehicle. We're just trying to put 2 and 2 together, and we're probably coming up with 5 because that's how it happens most of the time. But now we see the suspect just stopping, and, oh boy, making a left turn in front of another vehicle, pushing them into oncoming traffic. And boy, that's what they don't want to see, right? I mean, it just gets dangerous. Fortunately, he's not traveling at a high rate of speed, but it's certainly erratic, this individual, and under the influence of something. Well, he hasn't been on any freeways as far as we know. There's been one crash that was at Sherman Way and Corbin with this vehicle, not the original hit and run, which may have been with other vehicles. And I did not see that accident occur, but it doesn't appear to me that there's a lot of damage to the truck. You can see a little bit in the front, but you can tell he's having a hard time controlling the vehicle. It's going to get very difficult now that it gets down to the rim. And if the right rear goes as well, and it looks like that spike strip was going to get the right rear, then it's going to be really hard to maneuver this vehicle because the back will be dragging, and then you have the extra weight of that concrete pumper. And that thing weighs a lot. That's a big engine that pumps concrete. It's got to be a diesel engine with a lot of horsepower because concrete is heavy. You see those tubes in the back, or those the tubing in the back of that truck, and the concrete gets pumped through that to get to the back of a house or get to an area where a cement truck can't get. And it's hard to tell yet if the right rear is flat. Sometimes it takes a moment. But we believe, I mean, it looked like that last attempt got it. It's just so hard to tell in the shadow there if they got the right rear. Yeah, of the spike strips, we thought 3 of them hit. One definitely did, and then the last one, I thought for sure they got it. But, you know, the way that spike strip is, when they throw it out, it still has to be upright. If it flips over on its side, then it's not going to work. And then also the officer is very aware of the fact that he's got to get it out real quick because the patrol cars behind it or other vehicles they don't want running over that spike strip. So it's just not easy in any case. We're not hearing about another one set up. I think they believed that they got the right rear. That's what we heard. They believe it was successful, and it may just take a little more time for that to go flat. but we don't see any indication right now that they did get it. We don't see it going flat. And, driving at this slow a pace and not going to ruin the rim. I've seen some pursuits in the past. If the suspect drives at a high rate of speed, that rim will just disintegrate. It'll just go right down to the axle, and then the vehicle can't move at all. But you can probably keep going like this for some time, but you certainly can't go very fast, and then you do lose some of the ability to maneuver the vehicle. What scares you is if he does get the vehicle going at a pretty high rate of speed and then does not have control of it, we could see an accident, and that's just what we don't want to see. $20. Yeah, it's because of the vehicle and the trailer that it's pulling. Even if it was just that truck, they wouldn't use a pit maneuver. The patrol cars behind it just don't have enough weight to try and hit the back of just the truck, not taking into account the trailer itself. And so they probably wouldn't do a pit maneuver on this vehicle regardless. It's just too heavy, it's too low to the ground, the center of gravity is low. But with that trailer behind it, you just can't do a pit maneuver. You can see what would happen. The trailer would flip and spin, and if that comes unhitched from the truck and then hits another vehicle, we just have so much traffic here, it just wouldn't be safe for the surrounding people, for the pedestrians, for the other motorists. So it appears to me, and I'm no expert at this, but it appears to me the pit maneuver is not an option in this one. Uh, 20 to 25 minutes, depending on where it's at. Yeah, didn't get the rear though. No, I don't think that we are. I don't know that we will. I'm sure the LAPD has that. I'm sure they've talked to the company. What we're seeing now, though, with that right front tire down to the rim, it's becoming extremely difficult for the vehicle to get going, right, to really get going at any rate of speed. Once it gets going at speed, it can pick up more and more speed. But the initial start, right off the stop there, is very difficult. Also seeing the suspect engaging anyone who will engage him. See that individual there? He has no idea what's going on. But the suspect wants to talk to everybody. Every time he stops and he sees someone, he tries to engage him. There may be some mental health issues as well in this situation. You see that sometimes the individuals on the street, they just want to talk, they just want to get it out. We do know they believe he's under the influence of something. Can you pull out? Is this the same intersection we were in before? I'm trying to get an idea. No, I thought it might have been in the same parking lot we were at before. But now, in this parking lot, LAPD cruisers are right behind off to the left. They may do another spike strip here. They're going to be very aware of the fact that you have people walking around, so they're going to take it easy. But the suspect is starting to lose control of that vehicle a little bit. It's very hard to make the turn. The tire is almost completely gone. And once you get down to the rim, it'll get more and more difficult to control. This is going to be tough. This is going to be tough, Tony, because if he's going to make a turn here, he's going to have to go through traffic. Open up a little bit. If he's going to make the right turn that he's trying to make, he's going to have to go through that traffic. And the vehicle just doesn't start that quickly. So we'll see if we get a break in traffic enough for him to make that maneuver and pull out in front of traffic and then get into the lane that he wants to get into to go basically would be northbound here. But you can tell it becomes a lot more difficult to drive this vehicle now that the right front is flat. It's unfortunate the left front or the left rear didn't hit. We thought it had, but it doesn't appear that that spike strip worked. So I think they've done 7, and they were successful with 1. But certainly that they're getting the profits from that now because it's becoming very difficult for the suspect to continue. It looks like. It's open up a minute, Marcel. I just want to see where the patrol cars are. You saw the LAPD helicopter just fly through, and you see there the patrol cars in a line with 5 of them or so following slowly behind. So they haven't gone, completely to tracking mode like we'd seen before. This is like a partial tracking mode, right? The suspect can barely see these guys, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're in what they call a tracking mode because they're just not letting the suspect see them, giving the suspect maybe some false sense that they're not behind him or they don't know where he is. Because we do see him looking out the door all the time, looking back, engaging people on the shoulder, and just fidgeting, jumping up and down inside there basically. Just can't sit still. You can tell it really appears that he's under the influence of something. But they backed off a bit. Maybe they're content right now with him being just on the rim for him to drive until that vehicle is just not drivable any longer. At some point in time, more than likely the rim will collapse, and once you're down on the axle, then you're not going to drive at all. No, we really don't. We haven't got any information from the LAPD either. Obviously they've got a very good look. It looks like, it wasn't hot enough for him, so he put his sweatshirt back on. We saw the sweatshirt on, then we saw him take the sweatshirt off, and now we see him put the sweatshirt back on. There's another spike strip. Looks like he got around that one, though. It didn't appear to me that they were able to get him with that one. But when he stays in one certain area, then it's easier to set out these spike strips, right? Because there's probably 30 or 40 patrol cars all aware this is going on, all in the same area, and they've got the patrol cars with the spike strips in this area for this specific reason right now, so they can throw them out. I'm assuming we're going to see more of that until they get more of the tires flat. And then that will end this. Irene, we saw him throw what appeared to be a jar or a bottle of apple juice out the window. He was drinking something, but no indication as to what might be in there. There was a vest Tony was talking about. We were speculating, if he does work for that company, maybe that vest is, something he puts on when he gets to the job site. That's just pure speculation, though. We have no idea. We did see the vest inside there. We've seen him, with the dark sweater on, then take it off, and now put it back on, and it's gotten warmer. So, you're obviously dealing with an extremely unstable individual here. There's no doubt about that. That's correct. I mean, it's got to hit. We saw it hit the tire. We saw the tire roll over, and it didn't work. It didn't engage properly. So they've got to get it out there, and they've got to get it so the spikes are sticking up in the right way, so it doesn't just roll over it and not puncture the tire. But it's not easy when the suspect's driving at 6 to 7 miles an hour, and he almost comes to a stop at every intersection. If you can imagine if he's doing the speed limit of 45 or 40, whatever it is in this area, and then they hide and they throw it out real quick. If they could stop traffic behind them so they don't give other people flats, it'd be much easier. But in this situation, open up. Is there another spike strip here? Because a lot of times when we see him stop before an intersection, he believes that there's going to be a spike strip there. It's sort of tried so many times. Now, we don't see them, but you can tell what his strategy is if he has one, and that is, okay, oh, is the door open? Is he going to get out? Let's push on in. It's the first time we've seen the door open, and hopefully he just gets out of the vehicle. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Yeah, he's aware that they're putting spike strips out. There's no doubt about that because he slows down at every intersection. And I don't know if he's traveling this slow because he's having a hard time getting the vehicle moving or if he's just traveling this slow because he wants to do that. But it's going to be very difficult to accelerate when you have one tire down to the rim. And as I mentioned earlier, what happens is there's so much weight in this vehicle that as time goes on, if he continues to drive just a little faster than this, lots of times we'll see the tire will come off completely, then you're down to the rim. The rim sometimes even starts to spark and catches a fire. You usually have to be traveling at a higher rate of speed for that to happen. And then eventually that rim just gives way. I mean, you can't drive on the rim forever. It'll snap, it'll crack. And once that happens, the vehicle's pretty much can't be driven. And look at that. You see when he hits the brake? So when things like that happen, it's just a matter of time before that rim's going to give up altogether. What happened? Yeah, you can tell it's also getting much more difficult for this vehicle to continue to move. I want to show you out, it's too far. I won't pull out that far, but if you go about a block and a half away, you've got a half a dozen patrol cars. And I think what they're trying to do is just stop some of the traffic on Ventura Boulevard so people don't drive up next to them. It's inevitable, you can't stop all of it, but you see on the left side of your screen right there the patrol cars. So they're trying to stop traffic on Ventura going westbound. There's some traffic they can't stop, like from these surface streets or the parking lots onto Ventura Boulevard, but they're trying to keep as many people away from him as possible, and they want to be right behind him if this comes to a stop and he makes a run for it. They'd like to get him into custody, but obviously it's getting more and more difficult for the suspect to continue down on that one rim at this point in time, and it's inevitable at some point this is going to end. And we've been watching it now, as you mentioned, for 2 hours. There was one traffic collision, but we don't think anybody's been hurt. And as far as danger to the public, there's another spike strip, and it's hard to say. They may have got that left rear. That would be nice. Yep. Yeah. We understand they call it good spike. That's what they call it. It's good spike. So they think they got it, but we heard that on the last one too, and they didn't have it. So we're going to have to see. But that one looks successful. I think if they've got the right front and the left rear, this vehicle is going to have a real hard time going anywhere fast. And, it doesn't appear the suspect has any indication he's just going to give himself up. I mean, unless maybe the drugs wear off, if that's what this is all about. But it's going to be tough to keep this going if they did get that left rear tire and then the right front is already down the rim. But we just hope this ends without incident, nobody gets hurt. As of right now, we don't think anybody's been hurt in this 2-hour-long pursuit, except for the initial accident that we don't know a lot about that happened at 7:20 up in DeSoto and Lassen and Chatsworth. We don't know for sure, but it may not be this was the vehicle involved in that accident. This vehicle may have been stolen. Pure speculation. We're just trying to piece things together. We don't know for sure, but we just know it was a hit-and-run incident, and then we know it was a stolen vehicle. We believed in the pursuit, or one of the vehicles in the accident was a stolen vehicle. So it's hard. LAPD is not really interested in giving us that because they got so much other things to worry about, and you understand that. So we haven't been able to piece it all together, but if they did get the left rear, and I think they did because you see the vehicle swerving a bit, then I think this may be over soon. I'm dragging that trailer. Yeah, let's hope not much further, right? That's enough of this. We just, like I said before, I mean, you follow these things. There's no rhyme and reason to them ever, but you just don't want anyone to get hurt. We're on Ventura Boulevard headed westbound into the Woodland Hills area, coming up on Winnetka. For the most part, the entire time, started in Chatsworth. It's been in the Woodland Hills, Canoga Park area for the most part. And making a left turn here, I think what we're going to see is it's just going to be extremely difficult to maneuver and to control that truck if we do have the left rear flat. We haven't been able to get to that side and confirm it yet. We're working on that, but there's a lot of other aircrafts up here in the LAPD, and we have to have separation. So sometimes we can't get exactly where we want to get, but you can tell by the way it's sliding there. You see it's kind of sliding? I'm pretty sure that left rear tire is right down to the rim as well. So I really have a feeling they're going to be able to stop this soon, or this vehicle is just not going to be able to continue. And it's really weird how he engages individuals. When he gets next to an individual, he engages, tries to talk to them. And I don't know what these two people are doing right here in front of him. If they really think they're trying to intervene and stop traffic, that's not a good idea. I don't know if that's the case, but look what it did to the suspect. It just made him speed up. Let's push into that and see if they got it. It's really hard to tell. Did they get maybe a tire on the trailer as well? Hopefully they got that left rear. It looks like it might be going down slowly, but it's just so hard to tell. And they may have just got the inner one and not the outer one. I think there's two tires on that double rim there. But you could tell when those individuals tried to stop him, he took off. And now you see somebody next to him. It looks like they're filming him. So I tell you, when these pursuits, yeah, they go on for a while. A lot of people want to get out and get involved, and it's not a good idea. No. Yeah. Yeah, you know, I mean, drugs are psychosis, right? I mean, a lot of times if you have a psychotic individual, they're going to try and start a conversation about nothing. That could be the case, but you know, unfortunately, you know, even though we heard good spike, push into that right rear. And I don't see it flat yet. Maybe it's headed that direction, but once that goes completely flat, if it does seem to be wobbling a bit. So hopefully that's going to be the case. That's really going to deter where the suspect can go. But yeah, Irene, you know, don't want to get involved. You know, you can get arrested for being involved. You get involved in this thing, you try and intervene, you try and stop this. You can get arrested for that. They don't want you anywhere near that. And if you have any sense whatsoever, you're not going to. Is this BMW right here trying to speed up and take more pictures? It almost looks like it. Yeah. Yeah, not recommended. You know, not smart, but everybody wants to get, wants to get the picture. There he goes. He's going to pull up. He's going to shoot with a phone. And, boy, you just never know. I mean, he just may ram that vehicle just out of spite because the guy's doing that. It's not good. Push all the way into the tire. Unfortunately, I don't see the left rear going flat. A little flat, but we don't see it all the way down. So hopefully it's slowly going to go all the way down because that'll really restrict the maneuverability of this vehicle and hopefully stop this pursuit. Open up a little bit now that he's stopped, if you would, Marcel, just want to get an idea what's going on. So look at the tow truck, and it looks like, is that a G-Wagon or a Jeep? That's the same two vehicles that were in front of him before. It's a Jeep. And the same tow truck. Remember they tried to stop him a moment ago? So there's a lot of people here on Ventura Boulevard that are basically engaging this thing. They shouldn't, but they are. And then you see the LAPD cruisers behind them, maybe 100 yards or so now. They moved up a little bit. So they haven't gone completely away from tracking mode. They're still engaged somewhat, and then they have the helicopter overhead. And you can tell he continues to look back, and just hope that tire in the right rear there, or the left rear there, goes flat soon. $15.